The issue of India and Iran signing an agreement to develop Chabahar Port, one of the portion of Chabahar Port, in fact, Shahid Beheshti, which has 5 berths, that has created a lot of diplomatic issues and commentary from both India and USA. USA State Department officials said that there could be potential risk for companies or entities involved in the development of Chabahar Port because of the impending sanction regime that US has imposed on Iran. And if Chabahar Port development is conducted by companies or entities from India, then they would also come under those scanners. But then we saw US Ambassador in Delhi talking to CNN News 18, clearly saying that the issue will have more clarification coming out from US State Department as to whether the Indian entities involved in the development after the fresh agreement between India and Iran will also come under the sanction regime of USA on Iran. Now, MEA has also said that the entire Chabahar Port has a significance that is not only limited to India and Iran bilaterally, but also has a major strategic and humanitarian corridor that can entirely open up with the access of Chabahar Port following its access to Afghanistan also and Central Asia also. Afghanistan, for that matter, we know that has a land connectivity through Pakistan. So anything or any humanitarian aid that India needs to send to Afghanistan for the people of Afghanistan has to go via Pakistan, and that needs a lot of approvals. And because of the diplomatic relationship that India and Pakistan have had, which is not very good in the past few years, we have seen several hundreds trucks loaded with humanitarian aid and flour and essential food commodities were halted for days and weeks, and they were denied permissions to pass through Pakistan and reach to Afghanistan. So that is a scenario that would not happen if Chabahar Port is fully functional and India will have access to Afghanistan. Also, India will have more trade options opening in Central Asia that will also connect Europe. The Chabahar Port in future will also be part of international north-south transit corridor from India to Russia via Iran. So it's a very important and crucial part, and essentially India wants to develop it not only for the trade, but also it will have a strategic value in the days to come. Now, Indian Ministry of External Affairs spokesperson, when asked about Chabahar Port and how other countries, especially USA, has expressed their opinion, said that they should not take a narrow view of the Chabahar Port. In fact, this is what External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar has also highlighted a few days ago, and he has said that USA in the past has been appreciative of the port development. You remember in 2018 also, the sanction regime did some waivers to entities involved in the development of Chabahar Port, and then only Indian entities could be involved in the development of the process. With the latest decision of India and Iran to ink a deal, that would mean that for the next 10 years, India will be developing that portion of Chabahar Port. Now has a total scanner coming from USA, whether the sanction regime will be pressed against Indian entities or not. Clarification, as US Ambassador said, will be coming soon. But Indian Ministry of External Affairs clearly said that, and the spokesperson said, and I quote him, "I would like to reiterate that EM had earlier said that we should not take a narrow view of this issue. The project will benefit the entire region, particularly landlocked Afghanistan and Central Asia. The US has, in the past, appreciated the larger relevance of the Chabahar project, particularly in the context of humanitarian support to Afghanistan. India had sent about 85,000 metric tons of wheat, 200 metric tons of pulses, and 40,000 liters of pesticide to Afghanistan through this port. So this has been one of the very important connectivity point if we talk about India, Afghanistan, and all the humanitarian aids that India has been sending to Afghanistan. Also, with the opening of port, India will of course have a lot more market access to Central Asia. It will have a strategic advantage also. The port is also being talked as a counter to Gwadar Port, which is roughly about 170 kilometers. And of course, the Gwadar Port we know is being developed by China. There is an entire CPSE corridor which will have thousands of kilometers of road and railway connectivity coming from Chinese states that will give access to China to the port of Gwadar and furthering its access to other European markets. So the port in Chabahar will also have a countering effect on Chinese project in Gwadar, which is also being developed as a strategic and trade option for China in the future. So the development of Chabahar Port is in the interest of India, in the interest of Iran, in the interest of India's long-term Middle East policy also, and as the External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar has highlighted, that USA should not take a narrow view on this. There has not been any official clarification, at least that we have seen in the media, whether India and USA has been on talk on the issue of whether the sanction regime will be exercised against Indian entities involved in the development of Chabahar Port in the wake of fresh agreement that India and Iran have signed this week. But the clarification suggestively will allow Indians to have more development in that port because of the relevance this port has, because of the significance this port has, and because of the India-Iran long-term bilateral relationship and India's long-term view in the Middle East policy that will be helped with the development of this Chabahar port.